Hello, friends. Welcome back. Coming in not exactly at the last minute this time. We got a little day in advance, although I guess with the timing, as it is a UFC London, it's ultimately just a single day before. But I digress. Silly intro, silly intro. Should be a great card, actually. Some people making their debut, actually, and we're looking forward to it, as it should be some really good stuff, essentially. Especially this Nathaniel Wood versus Hossein Keita. But when we get there, we'll get into that more. Starting off, Chanel Dyer versus Ravena Oliveira. Actually, kind of spooky. Chanel Dyer, I don't know if I'd rate her so much to be a minus 500 favorite. And there's concerning losses in Chanel Dyer's amateur career. Talking about getting KO'd by Shauna Bannon. That's actually really fucking spooky to me. However, Ravena Oliveira really hasn't shown us much. That's the other thing. So I'm willing to take a chance on Chanel Dyer. We'll say by decision, calmly. But if Ravena kind of just mollywops her, I won't be too surprised. I'll just be upset. Moving on. Rock, a.k.a. Shakimi Rock, versus Abdul Karim Al-Salwadi. I feel like I remember Abdul Karim Al-Salwadi actually having a pretty good fight with Loic Rajabov. And that was 2 years ago. That was a minute ago. But then he got caught later in the fight and got finished. Louis Grajabov also might be off of roids. Shamrock, bit of a character. Man, stepped up to face Nurullo Aliev. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. I'm actually going to go with Shamrock because I do like the kind of aggression that Shamrock has. Man has kind of a mixed style, but a little bit more grappling heavy. And I believe he's a little bit bigger than Abdul Karim Al-Salwadi, which I do like here. I don't know if he'll get a finish. I remember Abdul Karim's striking being okay. So hopefully I just don't seem insane on this one. But this one's a little bit tougher for me. I don't remember much of Brando Pericic. I do remember that Alicia Ellison, I think, wasn't very good. Possibly just a sacrifice. This was when Walter Walker was just ripping people's heels off, destroying people's knees. I'll give this man Brando a chance. Kind of chance and vibey picks that we're getting vibey later on too as well. This is also going to be a similar thing. Antonio Tricoli has lost every single fight that he's had, and the Mansour shit, kind of whatever. Shara you can get away with for real, honestly, but the Trayshawn Gore one is a little spookier. Montas will be making his debut. He's a minus 800 favorite making his debut. Antonio Tricoli just has not shown me anything that would give me any confidence that he'll win this fight, even though Montas is an unknown. Therefore, I got to go with Montas. Now, the funniest part is that people usually finish this man, Antonio Tricoli. Maybe Montas will be aware of that. Montas is on a finishing streak. And I do remember kind of this finish on the Contender Series, and that was nice. So we'll say he gets a KO TKO. Maybe not in the first round, but the second. Mario Pinto. This fight was actually initially supposed to be Mick Parkin versus Mario Pinto, and that would have been a really good fight, I think. But not anymore. Felipe Franco stepping up to take this fight, and I think that's kind of reflected in the odds here. Fighting in Mamute Fight Champion before. Beat a 1-1 dude in his last fight, and then a 10-7 dude before that. Lost on the Contender Series previously, when he was 8, or I guess when he was 8-0, he lost to a 3-0 guy, which isn't the best look, but in MMA shit really does happen. I feel like Camacho wasn't really much. Janata Deniz and Austin Lane are decent. We are going to go with Mario Pinto here, just because man was also training for a fight. You know, you kind of know the vibes. This fight I'm really looking forward to, Nathaniel Wood versus Hossein Keita. Now, if you look at the odds on this one, and Tapology's going with Keita, it's super interesting because Keita's not like a normal, just, you know, newcomer to the UFC. 16-1. Man's on a pretty good win streak, and I believe his only win was kind of his only loss, excuse me, was an injury. Lasine Kaita, you can see it in his picture. He's a 2-time Octagon champ, the double champ rather, double champ. Finishing dudes, got some decisions mixed in there, but finishing dudes. Nathaniel Wood though. Damn, and actually, I didn't even peep. Man is actually a little bit younger as well at 28 years old. A little bit less mileage and a little bigger. I know that he's a little bigger. But Nathaniel Wood, man. I like to think that my thoughts, my concept of being a proven UFC commodity is real. You know, like, double Octagon champ, that's fine and dandy. That's fire. That's fire as fuck. But you're not in the UFC though. Like, let's see that. I might eat these words, honestly. I think Nathaniel Wood maybe even gets a submission, funny enough. But I'm going to say decision. We'll leave it at decision. I am looking forward to that fight. Should be fire. Mason Jones, man who's re-rocking his UFC career and has done a pretty good job of it so far. I'm going with Mason Jones. I was already kind of leaning Mason Jones, but I do remember this man Axel Solo a little bit. Now, a win over Reese McKee 6 months ago, that was like the ghost of Reese McKee. The second coming of the ghost, really. No violation of Reese McKee, but it is what it is. I just think that literally Mason Jones, now the Jeremy Stevens shit, you could kind of say a similar thing, and Blagioki, you already know how I feel about Blagioki, but we'll take it. We'll take it. I'm going to go with Mason Jones. I'm going to say KO, TKO in round 2 as well. Curtis Campbell versus Danny Silva. This is an interesting one because Danny Silva, in his single UFC loss, faced recent rising star Kevin Villejos. I always thought, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Anyways. I don't know. Curtis Campbell, similar to Luke Riley, is actually an extremely scary prospect in my eyes. Scary English prospect. Man's a savage, a little bit. I think Luke Riley may be the more dangerous finisher, maybe seems to have more power, but Curtis Campbell is a savage. I don't know why I'm thinking this. This is what I was getting at when I was saying really vibey picks. This is going to be a super vibey pick, like just straight up on feeling. I'm going with Danny Silva just because I like to think that the experience that maybe he gained from facing Kevin, he didn't get finished by him. They went the distance, you know? That'll be good. It'll be great, in fact, and man was having, he won 2 fights before that. Joshua Culibao and Lucas Almeida. Now, split decisions with those dudes actually really aren't the best, but they're wins. We'll go with Danny Silva for the one time. By decision. I'm actually feeling a little off about this one. Nah, we'll go with Danny Silva. Roman Dolidze versus Christian Leroy Duncan. I think this one's actually kind of simple. I'm going with CLD, and I'll say by KO TKO again. I think if not round 1, it has to be round 2. Roman really ain't shit. Every time he loses, we'll take a lot of pleasure in watching him lose, especially if he gets finished. Now, moving on. Rudy Ewo. I was telling y'all about Ewo last time out. Now they gave him I don't want to just say they gave him an easier matchup, but unfortunately, we're just, at this point in Austin Lane's career, we're going to have to go with Ewo, round 1 KO TKO, legendary Polish power. Moving on to another brilliant fucking fight, actually. There's a lot of people talking shit about this matchup online, specifically on YouTube, funny enough. Michael Venom Page versus Sam Patterson. Saying, like, what the fuck is this matchmaking? It's disrespectful to Michael Page. But, like, is it, though? Is it really? Like, Sam Patterson's actually really fucking good. We've seen... Sam Patterson was a dude that, in his first fight, I picked Yanal Ashmouz to smoke him. I didn't know that Yanal Ashmouz was, like... I think he was, like, hurt. Man basically had, like, one arm. It wasn't that serious, but it was like that. And he knocked Sam Patterson the fuck out, and I was like, let's fucking go. And also, what that meant was I wrote Sam Patterson off. I was like, Sam Patterson's a chinny English bum, lanky lad. He'll get knocked out every time. Next fight, I was wrong. I was like, all right. Do it again. And he did it again. And he did it again, and then he literally did it again, one more time. Sam Patterson is actually good, especially that third time. The third time was against Danny left-handed God Barlow, who I was saying was like, he had some potential. He still has some potential, He was a dangerous fighter. Dudes thought he was going to knock Sam Patterson the fuck out. Sam Patterson knocked him the fuck out. TKO'd him, but still, like, actually caught him lovely. Insane. Brilliant shit. And then got another. Man's on a 4-fight finishing streak. 2 consecutive submissions followed by 2 consecutive knockouts. TKOs. Excuse me. Fucking fire. You on to the scariest part? I kind of want to go with Sam Patterson here. MVP, a little older. They're like the same size, too, bro. I'm going to take a chance on Sam Patterson. I think Sam Patterson's earned that respect to me. And we'll actually say, you want to know on some crazy shit? We'll say by submission. In round 2. I love round 2. This one, Luke Riley versus Michael Aswell Jr. Michael Aswell Jr. I think is a lot better than his record or his experience level would have you state. Like a loss to Balaji might be crazy, but it's crazy. It is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. But this fight isn't exactly cut and dry, but I am going to go with Luke Riley. I am going to go with a late KO TKO because Luke Riley actually hits like a motherfucker, in fact. He does hit like a motherfucker. Smoked Bogdangrad. We'll say by round 3 KO TKO. This one is just like, I don't know, my mind is kind of, it was already set. Even though it's going to be scary every second of it, I'm going to go with Movsar Evloev in this main event fight of Movsar Evloev versus Lerone Murphy. Now, this is based on the thought that Movsar will be able to just straight up get a hold of Lerone Murphy, take him down, and work his game. On the feet, I don't think Movsar is too outclassed, but Lerone is extremely dangerous. We just saw what happened to Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico was fighting a great fight. Man, pressed too hard. Got smoked. Clapped out. Shit's crazy. It'd be like that. But I do think Movsar, his game plan, his game is very effective. Also, you may have seen some pictures going on him. Man might have hopped on the roids or new cyclo-roids. Who knows? But I am going Movsar. Lerone maybe gets the KO TKO. Maybe he just outstrikes him and literally Movsar can't get a hold of him and wins by decision. But I don't think so. I don't think so. Odds kind of reflect it too. Most people are going with Evloev. So save the picks. Save the picks. We're locked in. We're locked in. We're absolutely locked in. Oh, quick picks. Beautiful. Lovely. 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 As always. We will have the Smoky Hours Fight Companion tomorrow. UFC London, so it will be early. The fights start at 1 o'clock p.m. my time. I'm in New York City, so work that around however you do it. We'll be live probably around like 12:45, 1 p.m. Start of the fight, start of the broadcast. Hope to see you all there. Working on the pool video that's coming soon, as well as some other shit. But you know me, always making promises. They will be delivered on, though. As always, thanks for watching. Much love. Big kiss.